Hello world and welcome to Time to Build Tuesday. As you probably figured out, I'm building stuff. Crazy, I know. So as promised, I am back for a daily, second day, my daily streak, building the Victory Mars, aka Omega Megazord from Lightspeed Rescue. Then I'm building Blue Mars 2, which is this one on the box. Let's get that up close for you. It makes the arms. That's not all I got to say about that. Let's just go ahead and dig in. How did that camera get knocked out of position? Alright, we're just time to beat around the bush. Let's just get to it here.
Cadmium Lion 2. Hello there.
Hello there. General Kenobi. How are things tonight? Demand.
Cadmium Lion 2. Good soup, cold beer, day off tomorrow.
Actually, I should grab a beer. I'll be right back. One beer. All it is Ika. Out of the range of the camera.
Cadmium Lion 2. Ika.
Eek. Hang on. Oh my gosh. You just gotta know that you gotta hear this joke. Let me see if I can pull it up. Where was it? What movie was it?
Cadmium Lion 2. O Ika Dabiru.
There you go. I don't think it was ours first eye shocker, but maybe it was.
Cadmium Lion 2. Ika Devil.
There you go. Ika de biru. Ika de biru. Oh, that loads. I'll continue cutting this piece out. Page 2 and 4. There are really only four blue pieces on the entire blue robot. Or blue mecha. That's kind of crazy. Where was that scene? There we go. Okay. Put this in the... Actually put this... Gotta be careful here. The audio does not come through. Such a stupid gag. I love it. Alright. Anyway, back to what I was watching.
Cadmium Lion 2. Was that actor always meant to be that character's rebirth, or was it just him? What if we did it for the lols?
I'm pretty sure it was literally just a gag. I don't think when he was first cast as the old man, they were like, "Hey, we're actually gonna be Dr. Shinigami in disguise." I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Like, I feel like Decade was made without a plan. That's the impression I always got. So, who knows? Because like, the whole thing about Decade is that, the joke is that it has no story, but the truth is that it was made kind of in a rush when they decided to move Kamen Rider to a fall premiere, and with Double, and so they're like, well, we need something to fill the gap here. So Double got a long time to cook, and Decade was a little bit more rushed. Wait, there's quite a lot of RPs out on this. 12, 13.
Cadmium Lion 2. I person. Cadmium Lion 2. Personally like Decade for its oddness.
Oh, it's fun in that way. I'm not arguing it's not. Not wrong one. 1 of 22. And 7. Oof, another tiny one.
Cadmium Lion 2. I mean my debit card is Decade's Henshin card.
Nice. We're gonna see all 12 of them to this episode. We might just. It's been a bit. I said it's been a while, but they actually did all 12 just last episode. going to require a coat of paint down the road. Oh, what do I want to watch next? I could watch Gundam. Probably should watch Gundam. Or I could watch more Apothecary Diaries, but I want to be able to concentrate on that. Oh, it made an abyss fall up. I continue watching this? I guess it did.
Content grind, and I'll be honest with you, it's been a frustrating day. If you've seen my attempts to stream lately, yeah, I've had a lot of issues getting everything to work, so I'm going to take it easy today and do a nice, simple, but fun topic, which we have not actually done in a while. So I'm back on eBay, and we're browsing the different prototypes that are currently available. We've done this a few times, but I've not done one this year, and I wanted to see what new ones popped up, and we are immediately greeted by the type I do not trust. I absolutely do not trust these types of protos where it's just, it's, if you look inside, you take a deep look inside there, those are all the production colors. Like, those are final versions of all those toys from the Age of Extinction Dinobots Unleashed set. It's just a blank box. And I never trust prototypes like this anymore, because you can get a blank box printed and cut to look exactly like that. For all I know, this is something that he bought at normal price and is stuffed in a fancy box, hoping to pass it off as a proto. I don't really think that's the case. I kind of don't. Like, you got factory marks there and all that. but it's the type of thing you could absolutely do. So I'm not really putting too much. It's not the kind I would get. Fun though, interesting, shows you a little bit of the production process, because obviously, yeah, like they have to figure out if the box is actually going to display everything properly before they send the whole thing to print. Makes sense. We want to get into a little bit more different. You get a lot of things like this now because a lot of other companies producing Transformer toys means a lot of other company prototypes are getting out. Here's the Super 7 Optimus Prime and all of its prototype bits. Weird, like it's a combination of like dead Optimus Prime, a standard blue Optimus Prime head, and then just like a white plastic that's been in a smoker's house for 40 years. It's a weird combination. It literally just feels like random bits of plastic that were thrown in the mold just to test it out, which happens sometimes. A lot of these protos are kind of like that. Nevertheless, it's the type that shows you what plastic is going where. For instance, you know, the wrist hinge that you see there and the peg would probably be a palm plastic, much more solid and handles friction better than the rest. What I'm more curious about is the fact that he has a standard head right there, you know, done up in like the softer plastic, but he also has a normal head that's in blue. I would expect the heads to be made out of the same material, but apparently not, at least not in that case. It's the oddity of that made me want to include it. Granted, we're going to go through a lot here. I'm going to go through some of these pretty quickly, because I literally just grabbed everything there was. Things like this. This is an Authentics Mirage prototype, which is not something I would normally see. This is the type that, again, I don't trust as much because, you know, if you can remove the paint off a Transformer, you can make a prototype, you know, like this. You can make it look exactly like this. You know, and it's not the type of Transformer I would expect any collector to really be interested in, you know? Like, okay, it's a prototype, yes, but unless you are really, really big on Mirage, you have to be the dedicated Mirage collector to want to spend over $100 to get a prototype of what is one of the lamest Mirage toys. Decent for an Authentics figure, but other than that, yeah, not something I would go after even if I was really obsessed with the character. This one was actually interesting. So we have the Studio Series Concept Megatron, a mold I've had chances to buy and I've always been iffy about. I've always heard mixed things. I've had as many people tell me, oh, it's good, to people tell me, it's I've heard it's a great action figure if you don't mind, you know, vehicle modes that don't technically work as vehicles. But seeing it all like gray and red is an interesting take. It's almost like a shattered glass color scheme for the character. It doesn't look bad on the mold, honestly. Though he still keeps Megatron's like shins. He still keeps Megatron's gunmetal shins, which I think is an interesting situation. He's got a little bit more gunmetal. It's making up his back, a little bit connector pieces there, so you get to see, you know, what goes where. I don't know what's up with the fusion cannon drooping. I mean, it's a brand new mold. That shouldn't happen at your age. Let's see. Okay, this one was just thrown in. It's a Masterpiece Bumblebee with the Masterpiece Spike thrown in. This is basically like the final, like, one of the final runs of the mold before they start painting. Because, like, all the plastic is in the correct colors. Everything is assembled correctly. Everything else is just a matter of, you know, where the paint applications go. And you can see, like, it's nearly complete as far as production goes here. This could have been just like one of their standard test runs, or it could have just been one that made it off the factory floor without ever seeing any paint. Like the first runs of the mold's final production level, just getting the first few off just to see if it all worked before going into final production and starting to paint everything. These are interesting because it does show you what is and is not painted on your figures, just in case you ever wanted to know or couldn't figure it out on your own, one or the other. As I move my windows over to see how long we've been going, this is probably the favorite new one that I have found. This is my kind of prototype in like the multi greens and blue and a little bit of like weird red or pink thrown in, the off-white. I love the prototypes that show you what parts are made of what material, and that's what we have going on here. Like the light blue for the sound for him, for instance, you can see is not actually paint. It's die-cast metal in its raw state. Don't normally get to see those. Normally, you have to wait for a G1 toy to get really, really weathered over time to be able to see the raw die-cast color. But there you go, which does make it a little bit more interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool color scheme, too. It's almost Acid Storm, but I like it better. I honestly like it better. Yeah, I think it looks really good. Judging by the longer missiles, it is based on one of the more modern reissues. Probably the Walmart Retro reissue. This is one of those that I would absolutely consider if money was running good. And
right at the windscreen.
Yeah, not at $2,100. I really do like this one, but not for $2,100. That ain't happening. That ain't happening. I could buy so many better things with that much money. It's super cool though. That's probably that's probably gonna be like my favorite one of the entire video here. We got a few other weird ones we can throw in. I actually like how Onslaught looks in these colors. The red head is a little bit weird.
Crap.
But honestly, the rest of it, I kind of go with. Like, I kind of vibe with this. Like that slate blue color, the white and the light gray. Like, this works in a weird way. It kind of works in a weird way. Like if the Combaticons had like a drone unit, or like the
Just a real tiny piece. press on without it. Maybe it'll turn up. Sometimes they do. If I don't have eyes on it when it falls, it's just 50-50 chance of being lost forever, even though it's got to be right here. I wish my floor's a little... I gotta find a better building space. I know this. Let's keep it up.
Decepticons use them as like cannon fodder. This feels like the kind of color scheme it would be. I'm kind of into it. Not one I would jump at, but I don't mind how it looks. The Ronald McDonald colors. Ronald McDonald, and again, very aged plastic look. You know, it's more along the lines of like a very pale yellow or like light beige color to it. But yeah, this is the Titan tidal wave. What's interesting about this is like the blue feet that tell you that the feet use a plastic that nothing else used, which I assume is because they had to hold up so much weight. So, you know, the hinges in there have to be a lot more solid to prevent anything from going wrong with this toy. That's where I'm presuming the extra, like, that plastic came from. Every time I think about people saying, like, oh, well, Hasbro needs to use better quality plastic, I think to myself, well, they kind of have been using the same plastic they've always been using. Like, you can't really do anything to make it better or worse. But you can make material that is more solid, and that's what that blue stuff is here. I wouldn't be surprised if it was also the black here for the arms as well, because that's got to hold up weight, and that's got to hold up the ratchet joints. Interesting colors on him. Like with the white, with the sculpting on his face and that white, it looks like old man tidal wave, almost. Another authentic figure, it's the Megatron, again. Always show, like, I think at this point it's just funny to me how many times, like, Megatron's defining trait is just his shins have to be a different color than the rest of the toy. We just have to work that in. This is more traditional prototype though. Nothing really to write home about. It's just an odd color for him. It's honestly kind of Machine Wars in color. Weirdly enough, it's very Megaplex. You know, completely by accident. This one is actually special. This one is the type of prototype that does not come around very often. Like, this is the gray resin proto for Beast Machine's Snarl. And you can tell it is very much, you know, like a crude prototype. Like, you can see, like the material they use is not consistent. You can see around the edges where, like, the raw material is still there. Yeah, if I'm looking through a little bit more, like, yeah, you got a little bit of different colored parts there for the eyes, because that's going to be the light piping, the translucent, held together by a screw, like a big obvious screw. These are the types of protos I would look over very, very carefully before buying, because again, it's the type of prototype that can be faked. Because this could potentially be something that you can make with just a can of gray spray paint. But there are the weird inconsistencies, like the yellowing around the elbows and such, like right around the trim, where the where the two parts of the main meet. That is natural damage. And then you have things like that, where like he's using a Viacon emblem in his spark crystal for some reason. But it's not a color that was ever produced for that. So, yeah, like, that's not something you can really fake. Yeah, but it's something I would look at very carefully over and over before I go, yeah, I definitely think I want to hold a hand to this one. You can see how rough it is. That tells me it's not, that one tells me it's not, not a fake. You'll notice on a lot of this, keep in mind, 3D printing resin was not a thing back then. So this is sculpted. This is like sculpted, the sculpted pieces put in the mold, resin cast by hand in order to get a functioning prototype. This is a legitimate historic piece. See, I would honestly love to own something like this, but it would have to be exactly the right one. It would have to be the exact right one for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna drop the money on like this, because I do think it's a fascinating piece of the process. I'm actually very disappointed that I didn't see more of these when I was browsing around. This is the type of proto I like. The blue, the aqua, the green, the pink. Like, this is my type of proto. This is my type of proto. Maybe not the type I would grab. Maybe not the character I would grab. And yeah, as you can see, like, the plastic is not designed to hold up as well. So, like, you know, the seller warns that, like, the gun pieces don't really hold up because, you know, they've already been worn down. But yeah, like, I like this. This is the type of proto I like. I didn't get any this time with like the super bright pink. I remember the strafe we looked at before that I really liked. But yeah, not this time around. This is about as close as I got to like the typical ones. Here we have the I guess this would be like one of the first opaque molds that they would run. This is the type of one you do as soon as the mold is done as a first trial run. This seems to, yeah, see, they label it as a prototype of Sideswipe, but that's not Sideswipe. We can tell by the head. That's Darksteel. So a Darksteel prototype that's just all one solid color plastic. And this is raw. So your typical plastic has to have colors mixed in order to bring out in order to actually color it correctly. And your basic plastic is just either like translucent or it's a color like this, where it's just the most raw of raw because that's the cheapest they can run it. Yeah, and these will be your earliest protos, right here.
Fuck.
Yeah, just kind of
Cadmium
cool.
Lion 2.
Kind of cool to see like
Your feed is really spotty.
I'm sorry.
Prototypes of this.
It's probably because I'm trying to stream YouTube while I do this. Anyway. Just stick this in this one.
Cadmium Lion 2. Hold on, I'll restart my player, it might be on my end.
Just there's that one, huh?
Cadmium Lion 2. Yet it was on my end.
Well, that's good.
Cadmium Lion 2. Oh, that's faster now too.
Yay! Gotta stream fast. see, inner elbow. Losing a piece always really just puts me in a foul mood.
Cadmium Lion 2. How much did you spend at Momo?
$400 exactly. Well, I guess plus not counting food. But also, yes, counting room. So probably
Cadmium
500.
Lion 2. Wow, that's not bad.
I guess all told, probably about 500. Using counting for food, maybe 450. Because room was 200. I bought a $35 Gundam, $40 on the con T-shirts, $100 on an autograph, or excuse me, on the photo with Shido Izumi. Let's see, 200 for my room, and then I donated on the last day. I donated $5 to the person live streaming Super Metroid, who ultimately his game crashed like 10 minutes before the end of the con, so he couldn't finish the run. But it was a good gesture. It was to St. Jude anyway, so you know, whatever. And then, like I said, I don't know, $50 on food. All told, about $450. Like I said, I took out $400 in cash and said this is all I'm going to spend.
Cadmium Lion 2. Good cause St. Jude.
Yeah, I took out $400 in cash, and I said, you know, this is my spending money. You know, obviously $200 for the room, and then what's left, you know, I'll figure it out depending on how much the autograph and stuff is. And that's what I did. Thursday, found one thing I wanted in the dealer room. Listen, well, I mean, I was always buy the hero and villain T-shirts from the con store, so that's a given. And then, like I said, I found something I wanted in the dealer room, kept it to a moderate amount. It's like there's only like a couple things after here, so that was that. I should probably buy more artwork, but I don't know what I'd do with it. I feel bad about like not supporting local artists or whatever, because I should support local artists, and I don't. Oh, I don't need that one. Just trying to match what I'd already cut out here. Let me take a look at something. Where's my piece list? Hey, 12. 14.
Cadmium Lion 2. Art is kinda hard for me to. I feel the same way.
17, 22. That's a blue one. L. I got L. And N. That's the pieces I lost. Okay.
This be your earliest protos right here. Yeah, just kind of cool. Kind of cool to see like the different stages of it. Prototypes of this are always like crazy to me. Like the fact that HasLab prototypes have also been out in the world. I was at TFCon LA where I got to see the prototype for Unicron. Like literally the biggest prototype they ever made for Transformers, and like crazy colors, no paint. It's wild. Yeah, but like that's your real treasure piece if you are like a dedicated collector of the character. Not that you have much to collect as an overlord collector, but there you go. More of these solid white ones. Here is the brand new Studio Series Optimus Prime, I do believe. Looks like it to me. It looks okay, you know. Again, early standard prototype stuff, but it's out there. Another of the bright green ones I like. This is the Fall of Cybertron Starscream mold. Yeah, this is the deluxe. This is not the Gamer Edition one. You can tell because the cockpit is not ridiculously sized. A little more expensive than I would like, because at $450, I don't feel like this is one that would have a huge amount of demand, but it's still a neat look. It's still a neat look if you really, really want it. Yeah, it's again. I like the Starscreams. I like the weird colors on Starscreams. Here's another weird color. How'd you like your Lyo convoy to blend into the jungle? There's no shot of this in beast mode. I would love to see this in beast mode with like such a emphasis on the dark green. Yeah, dark green, neon green, pale blue. This is again one of those prototypes where it's designed to show you what molds go to what parts. You know, what parts share what molds, which tells you what colors things have to be run in and which ones will have to be painted, etc. It's neat. I love stuff like this. Yeah, it's a wild colored scheme. Definitely not what I'd normally see him in. And again, we have this weird trend of like the heads always have to be a different color. It tells me that like a lot of the heads are probably on their own molds, just in case they need to swap them out these days, which would make sense. They do a lot of head swap toys now. That actually does make sense now that I think about it. This one made me laugh. It's the Grimlock Pez dispenser. It's a Tactics Series 2, never came out, but you know, for a dedicated Grimlock collector, it would be a neat piece. Shoot back. What amused me the most, I think about it, obviously what amused me the most was, you know, like the Rock'em Sock'em Robot neck. But I loved how the color picked for this ended up making him look like Overkill. And just a weird little happenstance. I know for a fact it was not a thing done intentionally, but it does make him interesting. Another one of those I don't entirely trust because you could get this by stripping down paint. But this is the Supreme Starscream prototype from Transformers Cybertron with a very wonky soft plastic crown. Which I wonder why. This is again where like the crown is painted but the rest of the toy is not. That makes me suspicious again. But I don't know. I think what's funniest to me about this is that it's intact. It's complete. I can't tell you how many times I have had to stare at like Supreme Cybertron Starscreams and in my brain going like, you know, I kind of miss that toy and I kind of want it back. But every time I look on eBay, finding one that has both of the wings, both of the arm cannons, I'm not even talking about the missile. The tail fins are always the worst part. The tail fins are always the part that's gone. Like, finding one that's unbroken and, like, intact is crazy hard, which is kind of ridiculous, but it is. So it kind of amuses me that the prototype here is complete. Everything's there. Another one of these types of, like, what I'm starting to call Tigatron prototypes, because those are the colors. So Fall of Cybertron, Soundwave, with Laserbeak in his own color scheme. Obviously, Laserbeak is his own mold, because we got him as Buzzsaw later on. But actually, like, the blue and red, like, the weirdly enough, like, the, oh, geez. Straxus. The Straxus color scheme kind of works for me on him. He also seems to have another one of those random guns from Fall of for the Stealth Bomber Megatron. I'm not entirely sure why that's there. Not entirely sure. Yeah, why are you holding it? Why are you holding it? Weird. Look at this. Look at that. Like, that does something for me. That works for me a lot. I really like how that looks. The blues and the reds striking really, really strong. I can't remember. I want to say his Transformers Go version, that toy, I want to say that was blue. I can't remember it offhand, but I want to say it was blue, which, you know, might indicate that this was a prototype of that version of the mold. I'm also going to tell you, I can't remember the head sculpt offhand. I want to say that's the original head sculpt, because it's not detailed enough to be the Go sculpt, but honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know here, but, like, it still might just be a prototype of the Japanese version, weirdly enough. Black prototype, we don't get these anymore, and I think it's because they're very hard to tell. Like, the black washes out a lot of the sculpted detail, which is going to make it a lot harder for the designers to see how these toys look once they are cast in plastic. It's another reason why they pick certain color shades, because, yeah, they actually are difficult to see, and you know, they need to be able to have full visuals on them. I don't have a robot mode here, but you can see how much of this guy is translucent plastic. Look at this. We actually have, like, actual paperwork to prove that this is an authentic prototype. Look at that. 26th July 1995 is when this was invoiced. July 26th is me and my girlfriend's anniversary. I didn't expect to see that number today. Yeah, so, okay, can't doubt this one, can you? No, this is absolutely a legitimate piece. One more cool one that surprised has lasted this long. Well, with the price, I'm not surprised, but with the age, I am surprised. RID Megatron. Fully done up as in the white and the translucent. I didn't mean to throw in so many of these solid white prototypes. Like, I'm gonna start calling these soap prototypes, because they all look like they're made of soap. But yeah, you can see. Yeah, here's where I'm getting across on the detail thing. You can tell why they started insisting on color plastic for the prototypes, because how do you make heads or tails out of the sculpt detail on this thing? It ain't happening. One more for the road, because this one I think was in the previous prototype view that we did, but I just want to check in on it. Yep. This is my if I won the lottery purchase on eBay. If I could just spend money recklessly and didn't have nearly as many bills to pay off. Yeah, because I feel like between my obsession with Mantis and the fact that it's in my branding colors, I just feel like this should be mine at some point. But it's a $500 piece, meaning it's going to stay on eBay for a long time until someone else buys it. Not for me, that's not an invitation, but you get my point. I don't expect this one to be around by the time I go, you know what, I think I finally want to get that weird black and red man terror. You know, by then, it'll be a memory, but hey. we get to see it now, and I do think it's a nice color scheme on them, even if it's not realistic in any way. And that's all the interesting protos I found on eBay. Obviously, there's a ton more. If you want more, especially if you want more tactics prototypes, there's a ton of those. But these are the ones I wanted to talk about today. So let me know your favorite in the comments below. And as always, I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.
Okay, so this will come together. I've not done a very good job cleaning these up. That's on me. I'm kind of rushing now. Like I said, just losing that piece sapped my creative urges. Oh, I'll have to find it tomorrow or something. I don't know.
Cadmium Lion 2. Oh man 3%.
Hang on, I'm close to done here. Let's see who can finish first. There's a sex joke in there I didn't mean. That's backwards. Okay. Where does this go? I know where it goes. It goes right there. Okay, landing gear down.
Cadmium Lion 2. Bye man, have a good night.
You too. Have a good one. There we go. Alright, that is Blue Mars 2. I'll be back tomorrow night with number 3 and the weapon. And yeah, not much to say. I apologize. It's just that losing that one piece really sapped my motivation, my drive, and I'll find it eventually, hopefully, along with another piece that I lost last time, or during the J Decker build. I'll hopefully find that piece as well, and then I can have some complete kits. Otherwise, whatever. Until tomorrow, have a great night. Thank you for coming.